Hello, friends, family, and fellow bookworms, welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing the entire Mistborn Saga by Brandon Sanderson, which I just finished reading literally 5 minutes ago. I am a little bit sick at the moment, so my voice is probably a little bit scratchy, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm going to be reviewing the Mistborn Saga today, book by book, so without further ado, let's just get started with the review. The Mistborn Saga takes place on a planet known as Scadria. And the first book, which is just called Mistborn, or Mistborn the Final Empire, and this is a world where the sun doesn't shine and clouds are always covering it, and at night, mist covers everything, and all the people in this world of Scadrial are afraid of mists at night. There's all this superstition surrounding it. Everyone on Scadrial is oppressed by the reign of one who has been ruling Scadrial for 1,000 years, and one who calls himself the Lord Ruler. It's a very depressing setting, and all these people who live on Scadrial have a very, very hard life. Our main character is a girl called Vin, who grew up as a street urchin, sort of estranged from everybody, but then one day she meets a man called Kelsier and his crew, and she finds out that she has magical powers. Now, this magic system on Scadrial is really, really creative. There are people known as Mistborn, who can digest metals, basically grind them up and then eat the metals or drink the metals, and then they burn the metals inside their stomachs, and this gives them magical abilities. For example, if you burned iron, then that would pull on nearby metals. Like if you're burning iron and there is some metal in front of you, let's say a metal door handle, then you could pull yourself towards it. But if you burn steel, you push on nearby metals, so instead of going towards the doorknob, you would push yourself away from it. There's also a ton of other metals that I won't go into detail about now. There's like pewter, which enhances all your physical abilities, and a whole bunch of others. So I think the magic system is very, very creative and very interesting in the Mistborn Saga. I really, really liked the magic system. It was very good. Although I do sort of prefer magic systems like in Harry Potter, where it's unpredictable, we don't really know all the rules, because if you're just making all these rules to magic, then it doesn't really feel like magic. The thing about magic is that there are endless possibilities and there shouldn't be rules and limits to it, although there are in a lot of books. Still a very creative magic system, not my preferred magic system for sure, but still, really creative magic system. Now this first book, Mistborn, the Final Empire, I really, really enjoyed this first book. The plot was very, very nice. I loved the ending. The ending was just fantastic. Very emotional ending. And this first Mistborn book is easily the best out of all 7 Mistborn books that are out there. Although the one thing that I did not like about this book is I didn't really like many of the characters. I didn't really feel sympathetic for any of them. I didn't really care for a lot of them, except maybe Elend. I liked Elend, but other than that, there weren't actually a lot of characters that I really cared about. Another thing is Brandon Sanderson's writing style. His writing style is very simplistic, and I feel like I probably would have enjoyed the book more if the writing style had not been as simplistic and more complex. I really think that if it had a better writing style, I definitely would have enjoyed it more. Overall, still, I really did enjoy it, just a few things that I didn't like about it. But overall, definitely a good book, and I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10. The next book in the series is called The Well of Ascension. Now, this book I definitely did not enjoy as much as the first book. Overall, still did enjoy the story. It had me hooked on the story. I couldn't stop reading it. But still, especially towards the middle, the story was just kind of dragging on, and it felt kind of repetitive, like sort of the same things kept on happening over and over again. Not a lot was really happening, but the ending really saved it. So yeah, much slower book than the first book. Definitely did not enjoy it as much as the first one, but still overall an enjoyable read, and I'm giving this one a 6.5 out of 10. The next book is called The Hero of Ages, and to sort of just sum it up simply, this book was better than the second book, but not as good as the first book. The first book was definitely the best. I'm going to have to say that this one is probably my second favorite in the series. Really, really did enjoy it. Now, there's the Mistborn, so this is the Mistborn trilogy, and this is sort of the finale to Vin's storyline, and a lot of the other characters' storylines that Vin interacts with. Very satisfying close to Vin's story. Really did enjoy it. I loved how everything was resolved. Again, the book was a little bit slow from the beginning until about maybe the halfway point, but still, really an enjoyable book. Really enjoyed it. I'm giving this one 6.8 out of 10. Now, this next book, The Alloy of Law, is different. It is known as Era 2 of Mistborn because it takes place 300 years after the events of the original Mistborn trilogy. This is 300 years after Vin, and the world of Scadrial has changed quite a lot. Technology is advancing. The people on Scadrial now have guns, they have railroads, they have cars. Basically, exactly like this modern world, only with magic in it. And I gotta say, overall, the Wax and Wayne series, which this next era, this Era 2 of Mistborn, is known as the Mistborn Wax and Wayne series. Definitely not as enjoyable as the original trilogy, but there were still a lot of elements about it that I did enjoy. One thing that I really didn't like about the Alloy of Law is all the modern technology in Scadrial. Modern technology like guns and cars just kind of feels out of place in a fantasy world. It was still a very unique idea on Sanderson's part to have this fantasy world that has technology like ours. Really interesting idea, but again, I still feel like guns don't really belong in fantasy. And this book felt a lot different than the original trilogy. The trilogy felt much more like fantasy, it felt much more like The Lord of the Rings. But the Wax and Wayne series feels a lot more like Indiana Jones, which isn't a bad thing. I do like Indiana Jones, but still, the storyline, it's sort of Wild West, it all just kind of feels out of place in this fantasy world. Our main character is Wax and his sidekick Wayne, who have a passion for solving crimes and all this. So they're sort of solving crimes. So this is kind of like a blend of a lot of different genres. It's like a blend of mystery, westerns, I guess you would call it, and fantasy. An enjoyable book, but definitely not a great book, and I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. The next book is called Shadows of Self. Now, this book, I remember I did enjoy it a lot more than The Alloy of Law, although it must not have been very memorable, because I just read this like about 2 months ago, I think. About 1 or 2 months ago. And it wasn't very memorable, because I can't really remember any of it almost at all, besides the ending, which, by the way, the ending was fantastic. I loved the ending. It was just the perfect ending. That ending really made up for all the other parts in this book. It was very, very slow throughout, not very memorable, and not much actually happened up until the last 100 pages. So if not for the fantastic ending, I would have ranked this lower, and I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10, as with The Alloy of Law. The next book is called The Bands of Mourning. And this book is for sure my least favorite book in the Mistborn Saga. Now, I thought the ending was still pretty good. The ending was pretty solid. I kind of enjoyed the ending. But everything else just felt really, really off. We're supposed to be in this completely other world, other fantasy world, and it just kind of feels like our world. There wasn't as much of the magic going on in this book. It was much more about the whole solving crimes thing. And this is supposed to be a fantasy world, and it felt a lot like our world, especially since the dialogue and the prose just felt very, very modern, way more modern than the other previous books that feel sort of like something older. This book just felt really, really modern. They were using a lot of modern phrases, modern expressions, and it just annoyed me so much. And like, Brandon Sanderson kept on like cracking all these ridiculous jokes that were supposed to be funny, but they weren't really funny at all. They were actually kind of lame. So yeah, definitely my least favorite book in this series. There are some good parts about it. Like, the ending I thought was pretty good. Other than that, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I got like halfway through and I was considering DNFing this series for a while, but I pushed on, and I'm kind of glad I did. Just a quick note on the Mistborn series. Another thing that I don't like overall about the entire Mistborn saga is how casually all our main characters kill off the bad guys, or like the bad guys' servants, if you will. It's kind of like in Indiana Jones, how it's a really great story and I enjoy it, and the characters are doing all the right things for all the right reasons, but then all the people that are following the villains, whenever they get attacked by them, the main characters are just killing them off so casually without a second thought. And it's kind of like, I know, these people are evil, they're serving the villain, but they're still humans. And I just don't like how these main characters kill off other humans. And this is another one of the reasons why I found all the main characters to be not very likable, and why I honestly didn't really care about all of them that much, is if they're just killing off all the bad guys, then really they're no better than the villains, because the villains are killing people left and right, and sure, the villains are bad, but they're still humans. So that's just something that I did not enjoy overall about the Mistborn Saga. It was something that really annoyed me and really hampered my enjoyment with this series. Final book. Which I just finished, literally probably about 10 minutes ago, 10 or 15 minutes ago. The Lost Metal, 7th book in the Mistborn Saga. This book is definitely one of the better books in the Mistborn Saga. It was still a little bit slow-paced. The ending really made up for it. I loved the ending, the way Brandon Sanderson, the author, ties all of this together. Really enjoyed this last book. Definitely one of my more favorite Mistborn books. I would describe it as probably a bit better than the second book, but not quite as good as the third book. And hopefully that gives you a picture of what I thought about this book. Very enjoyable book overall, although it still did have a lot of those problems that the sixth book had. A lot of modern expressions, modern phrases, modern dialogue that just really felt out of place in this fantasy world. Still though, I really enjoyed it, a very satisfying ending to the Mistborn Saga, and I really enjoyed it. But it turns out, that's not actually the end of the Mistborn Saga. Brandon Sanderson is currently writing a third era of Mistborn, which will be a trilogy called the Mistborn Ghostbloods. The Ghostbloods being a sort of group of people who, I'm not really sure what they do. They know a lot of secrets about the world, about Scadrial, about this universe that Sanderson has made up. So yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what the Ghostbloods are. They're kind of like a cult that pretty much knows all the secrets of Scadrial. I'm not sure. But anyway, this next Mistborn trilogy takes place 50 years after the Wax and Wane series, and it follows a young recruit to this sort of cult, I guess, or club maybe? I don't know, club, I guess, of the Ghostbloods. Brandon plans to write the entire trilogy before releasing it, and it will be released in 2028. I have to say, the ending of The Lost Metal did leave me with a lot of unanswered questions, especially about this group of people known as the Ghostbloods, so I really am looking forward to reading the next Mistborn trilogy, and I will definitely read it when it comes out in 2028. I'm going to show you a little video clip of Brandon Sanderson himself talking about it and how far he's through writing with it, to give you a little bit of an idea.
Ghostbloods has made a little bit of progress. It's at, bing, 55%.
So Sanderson is 55% through writing the first draft of the first book in the trilogy of the Mistborn Ghostbloods, which I will definitely read when it comes out in 2028. Anyway, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you've read Mistborn, let me know in the comments what you thought of it. I'm very interested to know. I know it's a very popular book series, but there are some people who think it's overrated. I don't know. I kind of land somewhere in the middle. Pretty good, but not the best. Let me know what you think in the comments if you've read this series. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and for now, farewell.